Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Michael Zuber, one rental at a time, back with his longest running expert, Miss Anna Kelly. Hi, Anna.
Hi, I'm so glad to be here with you. We have
Yes,
so much to be thankful for.
yes, absolutely right. Wednesday before Thanksgiving. We are thankful every week, this week especially.
Yes.
But this topic is really for you. You really introduced this to me probably 18 months ago. And it's one of those topics, at least for me, I had to hear it a couple of times.
Mhm.
So I know we've talked about it before, but we're going to hit it again because hopefully it resonates. Maybe people are in a more receptive mood today. And that is, you have a saying called living life by design.
Yes.
And it is very powerful. I thought you should, what is it? Share with us what it means, and let's help people really reflect on that.
Yes, thank you so much. So, I've really been very, very focused, especially since I left my W-2 and I've had more time to really think about, okay, we've created the financial freedom. Now, what do we do? Are we just going to sit back and, veg, or are we going to try to make an impact? Are we going to, do something greater with our time and be more impactful? And what I found was that most people like myself and like a lot of, your students, my students, people that I see in social media, we're strapped, we're stressed, we're tired. And very few people feel like they have the time to spend on the things that they say are most important to them, right? And what I realized when I retired and I started to really think about, what do I want to spend my time doing? What are all the things that I said were important to me? And is my time congruent with what I say and know is most important to me? And I think when most of us look at how we spend our time, we find that the majority of our time is doing the things we're responsible for because of the business that we chose and the kids and the sporting events. And we don't have much time left over to take care of ourselves and to do what we're passionate about and what we feel like our purpose is, right? And to be honest, when I looked at my time inventory and I said, is my time congruent with what I say is important to me? I still was falling short. I was falling back into reactionary mode. Like, I have to do these things for my properties. I have to do these things for my partners. I have to do these things for my kids. I got to find time to work out and cook and all that kind of stuff. But was I spending hours a day doing what I'm passionate about? For example, coaching. You coach, right? It's something we're passionate about helping other people with. Was I spending my time doing that? Was I spending my time serving in my church and doing the things that I wanted with my kids, like making free time? And I wasn't, because we get so conditioned to, when we have extra time, then we'll go do this. Then we'll go do this. And I realized too many of us are not really living life where we're mastering our time as well as we talk about mastering our money, right? Are we mastering our time? And when I say mastering our time, it means, are we making sure that we allocate our time first on the things that are so important to us, what our purpose is and what drives us, and then figuring out how much time we have left to allocate to the business and to the investments. And when I reverse engineered that, I'm like, really, I'm creating my life by design. I'm creating my calendar and my time by design, while I'm working on, continuing to grow my finances by design. And really, the whole idea of financial freedom, it's not just to accumulate a whole bunch more money and be rich, right? It's to buy our time back so we can live our life purposefully, doing what fuels us, what we're here for, what's going to make us have that happy, fulfilled life.
Yeah. So let's see if we can't create a couple of action items or suggestions for folks, because a lot of people are going to roll into the next 4 days. It's kind of like a respite for them, right? You and I don't have W-2s, but a lot of people watching this do. And a lot of them are stressed. Quiet desperation is a phrase that just rattles around in my head from Joe Rogan. What can someone do, right? They've got 4 days. It's Wednesday. They're probably working a half day today. They've got 4 days off in a row. How do they audit the time? Because there's lots of talk about budgeting dollars, right? Track your spending, track every penny. Is it as simple as sit down and track where you're spending your time? Do you time box it? What's the first thing somebody should do if they're like sitting here going, I'm busy, but I'm not living life by design? What do they do first?
I think the first thing you do, and this sounds kind of morbid, but it's important. And I have this as a piece of this life by design plan already, But then I lost a couple of loved ones recently to COVID, right? Went to their funerals, listened to their obituaries, and thought, nobody talks about in the obituary, what did they do for a living and how much money did they have? Not very many, right? It's how did they impact me and what did they love and what did they enjoy, right? So I want you to think about if your life was to be over in a year, really, what will you hope people said about you? What will you hope that you had done? How would you have lived your life over the next year? What changes would you make about your life? Don't think about how much time do you have to do it. But for example, it might be, I need to really strengthen my marriage. I need to start having a date night with my spouse every week, right? I need to start spending time running in nature because I love it. It fuels me. It gives me peace, but I don't do it because I don't have time. I want to start serving in a food kitchen every week to give back and to make an impact. Maybe it's just something that simple, right? What are the things that you hope and wish that you could accomplish that you'd be remembered for and would have given you joy in this last year? Write those things down first, because that's going to tell you what's pulling at your heart and what do you need to make room for and space for so that you can be who you're meant to be. And we have goals and New Year's resolutions on what we need to do and what we need to do better. But we rarely think about who do I want to become over the next year? What's going to give me joy and give me stress relief and give me a sense of purpose? We need a purpose inventory. What's going to give you joy and purpose that's going to help you to be who you're meant to be, so that you can then focus on how do I spend time just being who I want to be rather than doing all those responsibility things that I think I need to do. Does that make sense?
Oh, it does. It's simple and very powerful, right? Think about that, right? Again, right? You're sitting there kind of on high looking down and people are speaking about you. How do you want to be remembered, right? It's not that, hey, I worked here, worked there, did this, did that. So go get quiet. I mean, you've obviously coached. Is that like a half hour, an hour? What do you think is a good time block for that?
Probably at least an hour.
Okay.
But then you really should be thinking about this, once a month. Sit down and have an inventory of, where am I? How am I doing?
Right.
We don't take enough time to ask ourselves, how are we really doing? Right. I've been asking my kids. And kids are so stressed out right now with so many things too, so many things outside of their control, performance, who are they good enough at this? Are they pretty enough at this? Have they done enough? For us investors, do I have enough units? Am I doing as many deals as my friends, right? There's stress and there's pressure that's put on us. And I've been really purposeful about saying, how are you? How are you doing? How are you feeling? Are you overwhelmed? Do you have too much on your plate? Is there something that you should give up so that you can just be, but we don't ask ourselves that. So I've gotten in a habit to check in with myself. And just like you're checking in on your personal goals, did I lose the 5 pounds I wanted to? Did I work out 5 times a day? Did you check in with yourself? Did you have downtime? Make sure that one of your goals is to be honest with yourself and do an inventory of, how are you doing with your purpose and your joy, right? And then ask, you need at least an hour a month to sit down and ask yourself those questions, because you need time to reflect on them so that then you can figure out what changes do I need to make, small changes that are going to give me just that little bit more sense of purpose, that little sense more of joy and of calm. And when you're coming at your goals from a place of purpose and joy and calm, you get better about what goals you should make for yourself and what goals are not really that important anymore.
Man, I think this is something everybody who follows One Rental at a Time sees this video needs to do this. Go get quiet for an hour, think about that. And then I agree, put it on your checklist for a monthly check-in with yourself. More importantly, do this now, this weekend.
Yes.
Because it will help you. Again, all of you are going to do it. You're all going to have New Year's resolutions. If you don't do this now, those New Year's resolutions will probably be activity based. Versus feeding joy and feeding purpose. So do it now.
The other 2 things that I do, so just to kind of help facilitate this, other than taking the time, is I create something called a personal growth statement. So we all have business growth statements, right? we want to own X number of doors by X time. We want an extra $10,000 a month, whatever it is, right? And then we set goals to help us to get there. So I have a personal growth statement that talks about what I'm going to do to grow as a person, to help me become who I want to become over the next year. And that can be relationally, spiritually, physically, from a business standpoint, but I try to keep it all personal. And my business goals are here. My personal growth statement is here. And I have a core values document that I created. And that core values document basically says, what are my key values of, who I want to become? And how do I make sure that when I'm doing any deal, when I'm setting business goals, when I'm setting activities on my calendar, that they're actually aligned with those core values, that they're going to help me to move closer to being a person of those core values and not take away more bandwidth and time to, just to grow financially, for example, at the expense of my core values. And what I do the rest of the year as I'm looking at goals, I'm looking at opportunities, not only am I evaluating them financially from a business and investment standpoint, but I do a personal underwriting. Is this deal congruent with my goals and my values? And is it going to help me to become the person I want to be? Or is it going to distract me from that because it's going to take so much time and energy that the extra dollars aren't worth it because they're just me being a slave to the pursuit of more rather than of more things that are going to help me live my life by design and with purpose and give me joy and give me time back to live my core values. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Folks, you're going to probably have to watch that last couple of minutes over and over. I know I'm going to watch that later. But yeah, do yourself a favor. This is the perfect weekend for it. You've got 4 days. You probably have family stuff tomorrow.
Yeah.
But you have time. Find an hour. Think about what you want people to say. I think that is so powerful.
Okay.
So Anna.
The very last thing I want to just add to that too is after you do that exercise and you look at who do I want to become, pick 3 things that you need to work on, that you need to work on becoming over the next year, doing differently, giving yourself that time for space. Then I want you to look at your time, your calendar, and think about time blocking. If I need to grow in my relationship with my spouse, let's just say, I need to spend, let's say, an hour a week if I can find it in the calendar. Maybe I want to grow my relationship with my kids. I need an hour a month to go on a date with them, right? It can be starting that small, but you time block it and schedule it on your calendar first. So once you put something on your calendar to help you grow in those 3 areas most important to you personally, then you have that commitment on the calendar. Then you're committed to that first. And then anything else you add, all these other goals, you can't move those personal things to do these other things. The personal things come first. So then see what time you have left. And you're going to have less time for the business and investment stuff, which is going to force you to say, how can I do more with less time? If I'm spending 5 hours a week less working because I'm living my life by design personally, how can I maximize my impact in fewer hours for these other goals? It'll force you to get more efficient. And you will find that when you're coming from a place of personal gratitude and personal balance in life, you get a lot more done on the business side too, because you're taking care of your life first. And then you're building your business and investment to serve the life that you want to live purposefully, rather than sacrificing your life and your purpose and your time because you filled up your calendar with goals for business and investments.
Yeah. Folks, do yourself a favor. You must follow Anna Kelly. She puts out amazing stuff seemingly almost every day. So Anna, how do you want them to follow you?
Thank you so much. You can find me on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram at Anna REI Mom Kelly. And my website is reimom.com.
Awesome. Thanks, Anna.
Thank you.